Hello and welcome, everyone. Just give us one moment while we put our cameras on here. Okay. Oh, My camera's the only one not working. There we go. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us again for this week's episode of Cooking Connected. My name is Sajwa, and here today we've got a couple of our volunteers. We've got Chef Jeff, we've got our volunteer Cassidy, and then, of course, we've got Jordan here as usual. So Cooking Connected is a series that Cooking Matters Minnesota started, just so that we can still connect with you guys even though we're practicing social distancing. It's a collaboration between Cooking Matters Minnesota and the University of Minnesota Extension. And a normal Cooking Matters class is a six week nutrition based cooking class, and you'd meet once a week for about 2 hours, where you'd have a chef and an educator who work together, go through a recipe. We learn a lot of awesome cooking and kitchen skills and nutrition to go along with it. So we're going to do something similar today. But before we get started with today's awesome recipe, I do want to just give you guys the program code for the survey. We really appreciate all the feedback that you guys have given us and the time that you spent doing these surveys. So the program code for this week's survey is going to be E101833. And again, that's the program code for this week's episode of Cooking Connected, the lettuce wraps. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and pass it on to Jordan and Jeff so they can move forward with today's recipe. The setup already looks amazing though, so I'm looking forward to seeing how this turns out.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sajwa. We're excited for today's recipe. So Chef Jeff is going to be showing us a lettuce wrap today. So I will go ahead and turn it over to Chef Jeff to get us started.
Okay, thank you very much. So today we're going to have this lettuce wrap. We're going to use some green leaf. You can use some red leaf lettuce. You can use other types, but be careful because of the tenderness of it. So like something like butter lettuce, Bibb lettuce, those are really fragile. So they might have a tendency to tear. And you can try something like kale, but if I was going to use kale, I'd want to probably put it in some boiling water for say 20, 30 seconds. Let it cool down and then pat it dry. You could also try collard greens, mustard greens, anything like that. But anyway, I'm going to use this red leaf lettuce. I've already washed it. And the way I wash mine, and before I actually start doing this, I always wash my hands for the food service environment. That's very, very important. Washing your hands, rinsing off, rubbing your hands with the soap, in between the fingers, make sure you get your fingernails just like that, getting all of the exposed skin. I wear a smooth banded wedding ring. Try not to wear watches, jewelry, those really big chunky rings, because food particles can get trapped inside of there, and that can cause cross-contamination. So please be aware of that. So anyway, after I've washed my hands, I rinse them off, and then I pat them dry. So I want to have very safe food handling skills. Not washing your hands is the number one reason people get sick at home or in the food service environment. So it's really, really important. It's the number one thing you should always do.
Absolutely. And something else, especially for us who have long hair, please put your hair back. There is nothing worse than finding somebody else's hair in your food. So make sure you put your hair back as well for those of you who do have longer hair.
That happened to me yesterday. I was at a restaurant.
Oh no.
And somebody, yeah. And then there's tacos, and plus the meat wasn't even thoroughly heated. When I got the food, it was just like mediocre temperature. So if the food's not hot, send it back, okay? Because that's another reason why you could get foodborne illnesses, is they did not heat it up thoroughly. So what I will do is I can rinse it in the sink, or I could take a bowl like this, and I will fill it up with cold water, and I will stick the leaf lettuce in here, and I will plunge it, okay? I will just plunge it in there. That way I'm forcing the water up inside the smaller pieces of the baby leaf lettuce, and it's loosening any dirt that might be inside of there or some insects. So like I said, plunge it a couple of times in really cold water, and then you let it dry. Put it in a colander, and then you can let it sit in the colander for say 20, 30 minutes to let as much water out of there as possible. And I've already taken some paper towels to make sure this is dry and just patted them dry with some paper towels. So that's that. But first, what I want to do is show you how to make these chickpeas, these roasted chickpeas, and with a flavoring. So I've got this bowl, and I have some chickpeas right here, and I've already drained them. I've already washed them off. I washed them off to get rid of the sulfites that are on there, that foamy stuff. Wash them off, drain them, and then I put them on paper towels as well, so they're really thoroughly dry. And I'll rub the paper towels around to just make sure that everything is really, really dry. So I've got some olive oil. I'm just going to drizzle some in here. About 3 tablespoons. Toss this around. Just down here like that so you can see better maybe. I'm not sure. And then I'm going to add, I've got some, you can use any kind of seasonings, you know, garlic powder, onion powder. I've got some kosher sea salt in here, some paprika, some cayenne. You can use anything, any combination, cumin. Also some tagine sauce or spice, I should say, curry powders, anything like that to make this whatever kind of spices you want to use. And these are great as a snack. After you let them cool them down, you know, put them in your kids' lunch bags and let them take them to school. These are great for salads as a crouton substitute.
That is a great idea. I love that, the croutons. You know, this has some great protein in it with those chickpeas. And this is an absolutely phenomenal snack as well. Like Jeff was saying, you can portion these out and it's a really easy snack and really tasty too. So you can definitely change it. I've seen like a garlic Parmesan version of this, which I've tried, which is phenomenal.
Yum. Yeah, that would
yeah.
be good.
It'd be great if you needed to be gluten-free too. You can still get the crunch on your salad, even without the croutons.
Yeah, great point.
So I'm going to put this in an oven, 375 degrees. And then I'm going, excuse me, I tasted my spice and it is really tangy. Tangy, delicious. So I put that in the oven, set the timer for 15 minutes. Then I'll just toss them around every 15 minutes. So this might take around 45 minutes to an hour to bake. So just keep an eye on those, keep your thermometer going. So for salmon, we're using canned salmon, and you can use smoked salmon if you want to. You could try, you know, just buying salmon steaks if you want to, or the salmon fillets. I'm gonna try this. Now, when they do salmon, they put the salmon right in their raw, right into the can on the processing boats, and they stuff it in there, bones and skin and all. They're completely edible. What they do is they put the fish in there, put the lid on, and then I believe they steam cook it thoroughly quite well so that those bones and the skin are all edible. I've already taken some of the skin out, some of the bones out.
Yeah, that was a big surprise for me, Jeff, the first time I opened canned salmon to see the bones in there. But they are a great source of like calcium and vitamin D. So they are completely edible, as Jeff is saying. So feel free to eat those. They'll just kind of blend in with the salmon if you like mix it up.
And Jordan, I hope you can tell us about your trip to Alaska last week and if you caught any salmon and halibut.
I didn't catch any salmon. You need a special, I think it's like a stamp for that. But I did catch a halibut, caught a 20-pound halibut.
Whoa,
Yeah,
nice.
it was beautiful. So I was really excited about that. So maybe if once I get my halibut, they have to send it to me. But once I get my halibut back, I'll maybe make this recipe with it.
Yeah. Okay, so I've added in the bowl, I've just been chopping up the salmon. I've got some olive oil mayonnaise that I put in here, some Dijon mustard. This was made with white wine. This is the good stuff then. And I've added some dried tarragon leaves, and some chervil. Chervil and tarragon go quite well together. Chervil is kind of resembles, think about it like a French parsley is what that would be like. So I'm mixing this together. And, you could always add, instead of Dijon, you could add in some liquid smoke for some extra flavoring like that, whatever you want to do. So I just want to kind of mix this lightly together. I'll give it a taste here in a second. Yep, that works. So we've got the salmon ready to go. You can try any kind of vegetables you want to add in here. I have some capers. You can use any kind of pickle as well, your favorite pickles. The sweet dills, the koshers, whatever you like. I've got some Roma tomato. The way I cut the Roma tomato up is I cored it and then I sliced it standing up, okay? And then you come back and then you slice it like a julienne going like this, okay? Of course, you could dice it as well. You can dice it like that. I've done some avocado. I've got some sliced red onions, cucumber. I did some matchstick carrots with the knife. I did this one with a tool that I have. Of course, you can always use some shredded carrots in a bag, or you can buy the box graters. You can use those as well. And there's so many ingredients you can put in here. You can also add cream cheese. I love cream cheese, or any kind of cheese actually. Pimento cheese would be good as well. So I'll put that. Let's go ahead and start layering this. You could sprinkle in some different kinds of nuts, like pistachios would be really cool. I love pistachios in a lot of things. Some almonds.
Add some of your chickpeas in there too.
Oh yeah, chickpeas, great idea. And you can make a dipping sauce with this in some kind of a vinaigrette, would be really cool. So anyway, I'm just layering these. I put some on the outside too that might just fall off. Some avocados. Of course, you can use any kind of deli meat, no meat, eggs, scrambled eggs, something like that. Make a log of scrambled eggs, put that on there. Let me wash my hands off. Wait some minutes, I think.
Lots of different options. I just love how quick this recipe is. It's a nice, quick, like lunch snack, but you have so many vegetables that you're getting in there as well.
So what we're going to do is I put mine on, I have some parchment paper here on the bottom. You could also use some foil. I've just measured up the parchment paper, and then you're just going to roll it up like a burrito. Actually, let me go this way. Just roll it on the top of it, go past where your entrees are, where your vegetables. Tuck everything in. Got a little bit hanging out on one side. That's okay though. Got a little bit extra.
This recipe would be a great sandwich substitute. That bread sometimes just gets so heavy. I know I like to do the, what is it, unwich every once in a while at Jimmy John's. So this kind of reminds me of.
What reminds you of what?
I think it's called an unwich at Jimmy John's. They just put, instead of the bread, they use a lettuce, but they use like a butter lettuce or something like that.
Oh, yeah. So let me get this out of the way. Okay. So got some grapes right here. That one right there. And you can just wrap these up, and you can wrap these up in foil. You can wrap these up to go and then take them to work, whatever you want to do. I've got some grapes right there. And then we will have some chickpeas that were just freshly roasted. I just took these out of the oven a little while ago and heat these guys up.
Chef Jeff's famous plating, as you can see, looks beautiful as always. This is an awesome recipe for on the go. Looks great. See how it tastes.
Very nice.
Awesome.
Very quick.
We're good as usual. Awesome. This is a great recipe too. You know, we're in farmers market season right now. Greens should be out. I feel like that's usually at the beginning of the season that they have a lot of greens ready, but you might still be able to get some at your local farmers market. So check that out. But while Jeff is snacking here, we're going to go ahead and do some nutrition education real quick before we let you all go today. I just wanted to discuss some of the different components that are part of leading a healthy lifestyle. You know, we always think about nutrition here on Cooking Connected, which is a really, really important piece of that puzzle. But there are other pieces that we need to consider when it comes to our health. And I'm sure you've already guessed it, but today we're going to talk a little bit about physical activity. So physical activity is really important to, you know, having a healthy lifestyle. There's tons of benefits as well. According to the World Health Organization, physical activity can help prevent and manage non-communicable diseases such as cancer, diabetes, cardiovascular disease. It may help reduce symptoms like depression and anxiety. It could also enhance thinking, learning, and judgment skills. It can help with growth and development in youth as well. And this is by no means an exhaustive list of the benefits of physical activity, but just some, like I said, according to the World Health Organization. So the general recommendation for physical activity for adults is about 150 minutes of moderate intensity physical activity per week, or about 75 minutes of vigorous intensity, or a combination of both spread throughout your week. So it's important to kind of spread our physical activity throughout the week. So what exactly does that mean with these different intensities? So a moderate intensity physical activity can look like brisk walking, riding a bike, dancing, gardening. Then looking at vigorous physical activity, that can be running, swimming laps, tennis, cycling, activities like that. Really a good rule of thumb is to get your heart rate up and break a sweat. So about 150 minutes a week is what we're aiming for. So if you're just starting your physical activity, I've got some tips for you to get started. One tip I want you all to think about when you're starting your physical activity is you don't have to do all of your physical activity at once. So let's say you do 30 minutes for 5 days a week. You don't have to do that full 30 minutes in one session. You know, you can split that up throughout your day. Maybe in the morning, you do a 10-minute YouTube video. At lunch, you take a 10-minute brisk walk. And then at dinner time or after dinner, you take a walk or go play basketball with your family. You can definitely split it up. You don't have to do a full, 30 minutes one time a day. Do what works best in your schedule and what works best for you. Speaking of working best, pick activities that you enjoy. If you are not a runner or you don't enjoy running, you don't have to run. Go pick activities that you enjoy doing. So maybe you love Zumba, you love to dance, or you want to play softball, ice skating, rollerblading. There's tons of ways that you can be physically active. So pick one that you enjoy. do your physical activity with friends, family members, or even your pets. This is something that can keep you accountable. So if you do physical activity with a friend and you say every Wednesday at 5 p.m., we're going to go for a run, that can be, a way to keep you accountable and keep you running. Additionally, working out with your family members and your children is setting a really good example for your family. So if your kids see you do your physical activity, they're more likely to do it when they get older as well. Something else you can do to keep yourself accountable when you start doing more physical activity is to, you could sign up for like a race if that's something that's important to you. Sign up for a 5K. Go to a community center and sign up for a class. You can sign up for like a tournament at your, in your community, or maybe a softball tournament or something like that. There's lots of different ways to get involved. And sometimes when you're involved in team sports or you're maybe paying a little money for it, it might keep you a little bit more accountable to maybe train or go and do these things. Finally, you can enjoy free activities. You don't have to pay for a gym membership in order to do physical activities. Or to break a sweat. In the summertime, it's a little easier here in Minnesota. We can go walking, running, gardening, rollerblading, things like that. In the wintertime, it can be a little more difficult. So some things that you can do in the wintertime to stay physically active. You could do YouTube videos. There are tons of YouTube videos, Zumba, weight training, all sorts of things on YouTube to, help you stay physically active. You can visit your local state parks. So some of them offer like snowshoeing and cross-country skiing, and they'll rent those things to you, and it's at a pretty reasonable price. You can go ice skating. I know my community has an ice rink or one that freezes over. Ice skating would be fun for the family. You can take your kids sledding if you find a hill. I know bundling up and running up that hill is a lot of work. So that's definitely a way to, get some exercise. And of course, for all seasons, make sure you check your local community center and see what they have to offer. A lot of times they have fitness classes that you can join that are pretty reasonable and fun for the whole family as well. So that is all on our physical activity. Thank you so much, Jeff, for that lettuce wrap demonstration. That looks beautiful as always.
Can I mention one thing about physical activity, please?
Yeah.
Please check with your doctor to make sure that you are able to accomplish these physical activities.
Yeah.
I'm saying that because of the story I heard several years ago about a person that was close to morbidly obese. But this person's desire was to run in a marathon. And how she started out, somebody just coaxed her into walking around the block. So she started walking around the block several times a week. And then she maybe started out with 3 times a week. Then she went to 4 times a week. Then she went to the next block. And then she went to the next block. Eventually she was doing, after several months, she was doing about a mile a day. Then she started picking up the pace and she was reducing her weight. She started going further and then she started to jog. Then she started to run. And eventually several years later on, she actually ran in a marathon.
Yeah.
So take it slow, check with your doctor.
Yes, absolutely. That's such a great point to check with your doctor on these things and, take it slow, do what works best for you. You don't have to push yourself really hard, especially if you're in a fitness class, that instructor is in really great shape and they're pushing you really hard. Do what works best for you. Don't push yourself too hard during these things. So awesome.
I was also going to mention, so during the summertime, the city of St. Paul has fitness in the parks, which is free. And it's daily. And I can put a link into the comments on both of these live videos. And there's the calendar there, and there's a whole bunch of free classes like yoga, and there's some Zumba, things to do with kids. So it's a good way to get active and be outside for free.
Absolutely. And that's so much fun just to get involved in your community. You're meeting new people, you're staying physically active. So really great to check with your community center and get involved in your community as well. So thank you again, Chef Jeff, for that demonstration. And thank you, Cassidy, for being with us today.
All righty. Thank you so much, team, for this awesome episode of Cooking Connected. And thank you for everybody who joined in and logged in and doing those lettuce wraps. If you can, send us a photo on Facebook. I would love to see how it came out for you. So with that, we're going to go ahead and give you the survey code for this week's episode of Cooking Connected. And again, that program code is going to be 101-833. So that's the program code for this week's episode of Cooking Connected. We'd appreciate your feedback. And we will see you next week for another episode. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.